Gather round, ladies and gentlemen, for today we dive into the life of a man whose name echoes through the ages, a master of strategy, a sage of war, Sun Tzu, better known as Sun Tzu, and his timeless masterpiece, The Art of War. This is no dry lecture, mind you, we'll weave a tale that's both enlightening and engaging, with a dash of flair. And we'll explore how his ideas, born in ancient China, have conquered minds in both East and West, focusing especially on the famous stratagems and teachings of the art of war that have shaped history and continue to inspire today. Ready? Let's begin. First, let's meet the man himself. Sun Tzu, or Sun Tzu, lived around the 6th century BCE, during China's chaotic spring and autumn period, a time of warring states, clashing swords, and shifting alliances. Imagine a land where kingdoms rose and fell like waves, where generals schemed and soldiers marched. Into this whirlwind stepped Sun Tzu, a man of mystery, his origins shrouded in legend. Some say he hailed from the state of Qi, others claim Wu. But one thing is certain, he was no ordinary scholar. He was a strategist, a thinker, a man who saw war not as chaos, but as an art form, a chessboard where every move mattered, where victory was won not just with swords, but with minds. Now, here's a story to pique your interest. Legend has it that Sun Tzu once met King Helu of Wu, who had read his writings and was eager to test this so-called master of war. The king challenged him, "Can you turn my palace concubines into soldiers?" Sun Tzu, calm as a still pond, accepted. He divided the women into 2 groups, appointed leaders, and gave them orders. But oh, the concubines giggled, they stumbled, they ignored him. Sun Tzu, unflinching, said, "If the troops fail, it's the general's fault." He ordered the leaders executed, yes, the king's favorite concubines. The king protested, but Sun Tzu stood firm, in war, discipline is everything. After that, the women drilled perfectly, and King Helu, impressed, and perhaps a bit terrified, made Sun Tzu his general. Whether this tale is true or not, it captures the essence of Sun Tzu, discipline, clarity, and an iron will. It also hints at one of his core teachings: leadership is about responsibility, and discipline is the backbone of success. Now, let's talk about his masterpiece, The Art of War. This isn't just a book, it's a treasure chest of wisdom, distilled into 13 chapters, each packed with insights on strategy, leadership, and human nature. Written on bamboo slips, its words are sharp and concise, like arrows hitting their mark. Sun Tzu didn't glorify war, he saw it as a last resort. The supreme art of war, he wrote, is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Think about that. Victory isn't about brute force, it's about outsmarting, outmaneuvering, understanding your enemy so well that you win before the first sword is drawn. But let's dive deeper into some of his most famous stratagems and teachings, for these are the gems that have sparkled through history. First, there's deception, one of Sun Tzu's most famous teachings. All warfare is based on deception, he wrote. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable, when using our forces, we must seem inactive, when we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away, when far away, we must make him believe we are near. This isn't just about lying, it's about controlling perception. Imagine an enemy general, confident and complacent, only to realize too late that the weak force before him is a trap, while the real army circles behind. This principle has been used time and again, from ancient battles to modern warfare. In the East, Chinese generals like Cao Cao used deception to lure enemies into ambushes, while in the West, Allied forces during World War II used dummy tanks and fake radio chatter to mislead the Germans before D-Day. Even in business, companies use Sun Tzu's deception to bluff competitors, hiding their true strategies until the perfect moment. Next, let's talk about terrain, a cornerstone of Sun Tzu's strategy. Know the ground, know the weather, he advised. Terrain can be fatal or advantageous, depending on how you use it. He categorized terrain into types: accessible, entangling, temporizing, and more, each with its own challenges and opportunities. For example, he warned against fighting in death ground, where retreat is impossible, unless you're desperate to inspire your troops to fight to the last. This teaching influenced countless battles. In China's warring states period, generals chose narrow passes to bottleneck larger armies, while in the West, Napoleon used terrain to his advantage at Austerlitz, luring his enemies onto unfavorable ground. Today, military academies teach Sun Tzu's terrain analysis, and even urban planners use it to design defensible cities. It's a reminder, the battlefield isn't just soldiers, it's the earth beneath their feet. Then there's the use of spies, another of Sun Tzu's brilliant stratagems. Foreknowledge is the key to victory, he wrote, and spies are the key to foreknowledge. He identified 5 types of spies: local, inward, converted, doomed, and surviving. Each had a role, from gathering intelligence to spreading misinformation. Imagine a converted spy, once loyal to the enemy, now feeding them lies, or a doomed spy, sent to die but sowing chaos in the process. This wasn't just theory, Sun Tzu's ideas shaped espionage for centuries. In ancient China, spies helped the state of Qin unify the empire, while in the West, Sun Tzu's principles guided the OSS during World War II and later the CIA. Today, cybersecurity experts apply his spy tactics to digital warfare, protecting networks by anticipating attacks. It's a timeless lesson: knowledge is power, and spies are the shadow warriors who wield it. But perhaps Sun Tzu's most profound teaching is adaptability. Like water, he wrote, a general must flow with the situation, shapeless yet unstoppable. Water adapts to its container, finds the path of least resistance, and yet can erode mountains. So too must a leader adapt to circumstances, bending but never breaking. This teaching resonates across time and space. In the East, samurai lords used it to pivot strategies mid-battle, while in the West, generals like Dwight D. Eisenhower adapted to changing conditions during the Normandy invasion. In business, CEOs use Sun Tzu's adaptability to navigate economic shifts, pivoting products or strategies to stay ahead. It's a reminder, rigidity leads to defeat, but flexibility leads to victory. So, why does the art of war matter? Let's zoom out and see its place in the world. In the East, Sun Tzu's ideas shaped centuries of military thought. In China, generals like Cao Cao and Zhuge Liang studied his work, applying its principles to battles that shaped dynasties. In Japan, samurai lords carried the art of war into their campaigns, blending it with Bushido. Even today, Chinese leaders quote Sun Tzu in politics and business, seeing strategy as a battlefield of minds. His teachings on deception, terrain, spies, and adaptability have become part of the cultural DNA, guiding everything from military tactics to corporate negotiations. But here's the fascinating part, Sun Tzu's influence isn't confined to the East. Oh no, his wisdom crossed oceans and continents. In the West, the art of war first appeared in the 18th century, translated by French Jesuits. Napoleon, some say, studied it, using its principles to outmaneuver his foes, though he might have forgotten the bit about not overextending. In the 20th century, military academies like West Point embraced it, and generals like Norman Schwarzkopf cited it during the Gulf War, using deception to mislead Iraqi forces and terrain analysis to plan desert operations. But here's the twist, Sun Tzu isn't just for soldiers. Business tycoons read it to outwit competitors, using spies, market research, to gain insights and adaptability to pivot strategies. Sports coaches use it to devise game plans, employing deception to confuse opponents and terrain knowledge to choose the right field. Even lawyers study it for courtroom battles, using Sun Tzu's adaptability to adjust arguments on the fly. Imagine that, a 2,500-year-old text, guiding CEOs in Silicon Valley and football coaches in Europe. Now, let's compare East and West. In the East, Sun Tzu's ideas are deeply rooted in Taoist philosophy. War is an extension of harmony, a dance of yin and yang. Victory comes from balance, from understanding the flow of forces. His teachings on deception, terrain, spies, and adaptability align with this worldview, emphasizing subtlety and flow. In the West, where war often glorifies heroism and decisive battles, Sun Tzu's emphasis on subtlety and deception can feel revolutionary. Yet, it's this universality that makes him timeless. Whether you're in Beijing or Boston, his lessons resonate: know yourself, know your enemy, and win with wisdom, not just strength. His stratagems, deception, terrain, spies, adaptability, are tools for any challenge, from ancient battlefields to modern boardrooms. But let's not forget, Sun Tzu wasn't perfect. His focus on strategy sometimes overlooks the human cost of war, the suffering of soldiers and civilians. And while his principles are brilliant, they're not foolproof. As he himself said, no plan survives contact with the enemy. Still, his genius lies in teaching us to think, to adapt, to see war, and life, as a game of chess, where every move matters. His teachings on deception, terrain, spies, and adaptability are not just tactics, they're a mindset, a way of seeing the world. So, there you have it, folks, Sun Tzu, the man, the myth, the mastermind, and his art of war, a book that transcends time and borders. From ancient battlefields to modern boardrooms, his ideas live on, proving that true wisdom knows no bounds. His stratagems, deception to control perception, terrain to leverage the land, spies to gain foreknowledge, and adaptability to flow like water, have shaped history and continue to inspire. Next time you're facing a challenge, remember Sun Tzu's words: in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Now, go forth and strategize, wisely, of course. If you'd like to dive deeper into any part of his life or ideas, just let me know.